Hi everybody, this is Miss Jurgens, and in this video I want to talk to you all about descriptive writing. So first let's talk about why descriptive writing is important. Descriptive writing makes your writing interesting, okay, and it is going to make it more effective. I want to look at a couple examples of why that's true. Okay, so on the screen here, I'm going to scroll down and I've got a text here for us to look at. I want you to read it. I'm going to read it out loud, or we're going to read it together. And I want you to think to yourself, where do you think this text comes from? Because I took this from a book. I changed it. I made it less descriptive. Okay, I made it point blank. If we took all the description out, this is what you would read out of this book. But try and tell me, based off of what we're reading, what book do you think it might be from? It's a pretty well-known book. You may or may not have read it, but you've probably at least heard of it. So let's read and let's see what we got here. So, a breeze went through the street, which was quiet. The boy rolled over. A hand was holding the letter beside him, and he kept sleeping. He would be woken up hours later. He didn't know people were meeting around the world. I personally probably can't figure out what book this is from, just from reading this short paragraph here. I can see that, this isn't a Word document and there's nothing underlined, so I know my spelling is right, my grammar is right, I've got complete sentences. So when we talk about writing technically, it's correct, but it's not super interesting. So I'm going to scroll down. Just think quick. Do you have any guesses on what book it's from? And again, remember, I changed it. But what story might this be from? Let's find out. Let's see if we can figure it out. If we go to the original writing here, why it's so much more interesting when we see the description. A breeze ruffled the neat hedges of Privet Drive, which lay silent and tidy under the inky sky, the very last place you would expect astonishing things to happen. Harry Potter rolled over inside his blankets without waking up. One small hand closed on the letter beside him, and he slept on, not knowing he was special, not knowing he was famous, not knowing he would be woken in a few hours' time by Mrs. Dursley's scream as she opened the front door to put out the milk bottles, nor that he would spend the next few weeks being prodded and pinched by his cousin Dudley. He couldn't know that at this very moment. People meeting in secret all over the country were holding up their glasses and saying in hushed voices, "To Harry Potter, the boy who lived." So hopefully you were able to figure out what this is from, just based on the fact that we read the name Harry Potter here. I obviously changed that to the boy in the previous writing. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit so we can compare these a little bit more closely and just show how, it's the same text, but one of them is so much more descriptive than the other. So first of all, I want you to notice that we've got about the same number of sentences, okay? So we have a sentence here, a breeze went through the street, which was quiet. That same sentence right here that I changed is one sentence that goes to here. So we get so much more information. We get the name of the street here. We get a description that there's hedges there. We see they're silent and tidy. There's this inky sky. And then we just get this descriptive piece that says, you wouldn't expect astonishing things. You wouldn't expect anything interesting to happen there. So all of that makes that sentence so much more interesting. The second sentence, the boy rolled over. Here we have Harry Potter rolled over inside his blankets without waking up. So we get a description that he's rolled up, he's in blankets, he's probably warm. We get a little bit more information there. He doesn't wake up. The third sentence, a hand was holding the letter beside him and he kept sleeping. One small hand closed on the letter beside him and he slept on. And this is the part where it gets really interesting. It tells us he doesn't know that he's special. He doesn't know that he's famous. He doesn't know that he's going to be woken up in a few hours' time by Mrs. Dursley's scream as she opened the front door to put out the milk bottles, nor that he would spend the next few weeks being prodded and pinched by his cousin Dudley. Again, that sentence has so much more detail in it, so much more information that paints a better picture for us, that tells us more about our character. It just makes it more interesting. It's so much more descriptive. And again, I want you to notice too, in this paragraph here, we don't have anything underlined. We don't have any spelling or grammar errors. Everything is a complete sentence. Our sentences are so much longer, and long sentences don't always mean descriptive writing, because you don't want to have like a run-on sentence. You want it to end at some point, and you want it to be effective. But when you have longer sentences, usually that means that you've got more description in there, and that is a good thing. So that's just kind of like how we can compare a piece of boring information and a piece of much more interesting information that paints such a better picture for us. This is why descriptive writing is so important. So I'm going to scroll down again here, and we're going to see, we're going to do like an example together of how we can make this sentence more interesting. So I've got a sentence here. There was a cat walking in the street. It's a complete sentence. We've got a subject, a cat. We've got a predicate, walking in the street. Okay, so it's a complete sentence. It makes sense. Let's make it more interesting. So one way I can do this is just by adding some adjectives and adverbs. And remember, an adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. Okay, and an adverb modifies or describes an adverb, a verb, or another adjective. Okay, so let's just keep some of this the same. There was a cat. Let's describe this cat. We could say it's an orange cat. There was an orange cat walking. That's a verb. How is he walking? We could say that he's walking. My goodness. Walking quickly. He's walking fast. That's an adverb. It describes how he's walking. In the dark street. So that describes the street then there for us. So there we already have a more interesting, a more descriptive sentence. We've added those adjectives, orange and dark, and we've added the adverb quickly. Those are our words that describe different things in our sentence. I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to try and make this sentence even more descriptive, even more interesting. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about what this cat looks like. And again, this is just my writing. This is just what I'm coming up with. These are just my ideas that I'm putting out there. Okay, there was an orange striped cat. So now we know he's got stripes. What else is this cat doing? Does this cat, maybe he's got a mouth in his mouth. An orange striped cat with a limp mouse in his mouth. I'm going to go ahead and put a comma there. Oopsies, what's going on? With a limp mouse in his mouth, stalking through Park Street. So I've got striped now. He's got a limp mouse in his mouth. That's probably dinner. It tells me it's limp, which tells me it's probably dead, in his mouth, and he's stalking through the street. So I completely took away walking quickly, and I'm just using a totally different word. Stalking is just a different way of walking, right? It's a way that you can walk. When I think of stalking, I think of being sneaky, being sly, being watchful. Maybe he's looking for another mouse to have for dinner. It just gives me even more description and even better visual of what's happening in this sentence. So that's two ways that I can take this sentence and make it more interesting and make it more descriptive. What I want you guys to do now, I've got some more examples down here of just some plain sentences that don't have a lot of description to them. 1, I was tired. 2, Nancy ran to her house. And 3, Fred was swimming. I want you to just on a separate sheet of paper or in the comments, what can you do to make those sentences more interesting? Why are you tired? What time of day is it? Where are you? And Nancy ran to her house. Why is she running? What time of year is it? Where is her house? What is she running from? Is she running just for fun? Fred went swimming. Tell me about the swimming pool. Or maybe he's swimming in a lake, or maybe he's swimming in the ocean. Um, what's he doing? Is he diving? Is he just regular swimming? Is the water cold? Is he on vacation? Is it summer? There are so many questions with these sentences because there's just not a lot of information given. So take those sentences, be creative with them, add some of those adjectives, add the description to make it more interesting and to give me a more full, better picture. All right, good luck with that. And I hope that this video was helpful in how to make your writing more descriptive.